close the water and sewer operation maintenance fund and transfer those funds back to water and sewer. I'll allow David to elaborate on that.
I can. So just to boil it down, this was kind of a, as we were cleaning the ledger, we saw this water sewer operation maintenance fund. It's kind of hanging out by itself, and there was some. I'm sure it served a purpose at one point in time with the bonds that y'all have for water sewer improvements with Department of Environmental Quality, but with the way that those bonds, that debt is being paid off, that debt is being paid off directly at the state level. They're just reducing your sales tax revenues every month and then using that to pay off the debt. And that happens down there in Jackson. So we don't see a need for this fund any longer. Since really there's nothing happening on our books. So we're cleaning up basically the accounting records, and there was quite a bit of cash sitting in that fund. I think it was around $142,000, if I recall. And so I went back and looked at, what the source of that money was, and it was from water sewer. So, rechecked our work and said, okay, well, since that money originally came from water sewer, let's go ahead and just transfer it back over there, since this fund is not serving its intended purpose. And at the time we did this, water sewer had a deficit cash. So that was another reason we wanted to do it, just get this, it's kind of a defunct fund, just get it out of there and move it back to water sewer. And now we have a positive cash balance in water sewer.
Well, this behooves me because we were told we needed a $500,000 loan from Renaissance Bank for public works, for water and sewer. So you mean to tell me there was some money in another account that wasn't on the books?
It was on the books. It wasn't with the water sewer account, so it was very easy to, you'd have to look in a different place. And it seems, honestly, looking at the whole process, it seems ridiculous to me. I don't know why anyone thought to do it that way, to just kind of, honestly, it's hard for you to explain what they were trying to do, but
Did you go take the $500,000 that we bought? Jeez, most nigga.
Why don't they do a $500,000 when they sold Victoria and got $450,000? $475,000. We found that.
Good question, but we were told.
We'll continue to look, but we didn't documents on that. I couldn't find anything in the minutes.
Where was this found at? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
oh,
The water
okay,
and
yes. It was fund. Well, it's not on there anymore because we're getting rid of it, but so y'all's cash account is a pooled cash account. So all of your funds are in the same bank account, but your accounting software is what divides that up and keeps track of, okay, general fund has this much, water sewer has this much, so this money was sitting in the bank account the whole time. It was just through an accounting system. I don't even know what to call it. It was shunted over to a different spot on the books.
Just call it what it is.
Foolishness.
yeah.
You just call it what it is.
It was.
Easy to embellish. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's still there, so we just we're putting it back where it needs to go, and it should make your books a lot easier to, read and understand. And know where everything goes. So, that's the whole purpose of this agenda line item, because when you transfer funds, it has to be done by board approval. So, yeah,
Can you
we're just
track-
trying to help you out.
Can you track where it's going? Can you track where it's going? What could it possibly have been more than that?
Well, that's the crazy part. It wasn't going anywhere.
It was just sitting.
Yeah, there was just these monthly amounts that were being, so you can't.
Transfer here and again, you roll a check back to yourself.
Yeah, and this was facility, they were writing checks and then taking them across the hallway to have those checks deposited to the same bank account. So every month they would clear the bank out and straight back in, same amount, same day.
And these supposed to be qualified people that are already certified and doing Okolona this way. I'm sorry. We are already in a bad situation. For somebody to do us like that, I'm sorry. We spent taxpayers' money sending them people down there to Jackson to get trained to do the right thing. Yes, I'm mad. I'm a taxpayer. They took my tax dollars, get trained, and then doing us like this. You manipulated the system.
Well, I'm glad we have you straightened out.
Thank you.
Because, I mean, we can't continue to, just say, this.
Right.
We can't continue to point the finger. What we have to do is find what we need to do to correct it so we can move forward. Because right now we're stuck. Stuck in the same spot, because the same thing over and over again. It's time for us to get this resolved so we can get work.
And that's what this is, I'm Mr. Thompson, but that's what this is. If we approve this tonight, we put all these carts back on the track, y'all. People don't realize there are a lot of carts for this train that have been derailed. We put them back on the track so that our train can move on down the track. Mr. Thompson.
And piggybacking off of what Councilwoman Gardner said, that's what I was gonna allude to in terms of when you said earlier that basically you said you have to know where to look, so on and so forth. We pride ourselves on being a united board.
Yes.
Always acknowledging we're fresh and we're new and so on and so forth. So whatever y'all found, whatever you found, however you found it, there's no way that we're responsible for that either way, correct? Because I would have known what to look for, where to look for.
Thank you.
I don't have access to it or any of that, right?
Well, that's why we're doing this, is to put it back where it's supposed to be and boil it down so that it makes sense on the face of, so our goal is to help everyone understand what is going on. And, that's really the goal of the county. So, yeah, when I see some of this stuff, it kind of, I don't know.
And then it gets moved to shuffle or whatever, and you saying it has to come across here first and be approved to make a motion.
That's why I say you do, if there's amendments, you do them, quarterly or, something. And see, and a lot of times, the boards, now been on the boards that will say, do this, and you're like, hey, why are you doing this? You don't really understand if you approve of this. And then that means that later on, we got to go back down the road and fix what we approved. That's the reason why I strongly recommended a different form of accounting principle when it comes to invoices. And I told the department head, you're gonna come to City Hall and you request these POs, but guess what? When the invoice comes in, you're gonna code them. You're gonna sign up on them. You're gonna code them where you want this money to pull from, because they get the same financials. They're responsible by state law for their budget once it's approved, and you're gonna code it. So you have no excuse to say, well, I didn't know what. And they've been in the past relying on someone else at City Hall, and they're relying on City Clerk to basically tell them whether or not they can spend some money here or spend some money. And that's not, the City Clerk does have that responsibility on the state statute not to release a check if there's a shortage of funds there. But that department head has a responsibility to ensure that they stay in compliance with, what's been adopted. And if there are emergency situations, they come up, they bring it like And that's how we deal with emergency situations through board approval. So are there any other questions? Is there a motion for the approval? Motion for the approval.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second. All those in favor, aye? Any opposers? Ayes have it. Now we're at number 5, approved budget for fiscal year 2025, 2026 for the city of Okolona.
Sure. So you should all have a proposed budget for the next fiscal year. This is pretty much the same budget that was presented at the last budget hearing. We've only had to make a few changes since that point in time. We made a deputy clerk hire, and I think that's kind of the most significant change. But other than that, if you look at page 1, that is the general fund budget, which is the primary operating fund of the city. The first page has all of the revenues. And you can see that we are budgeting $2,386,000 for revenues next year. That is a slight increase over last year's budget, but that is not in the form of property taxes or anything of that nature. It is, there's other sources that we expect to have a slight increase for next fiscal year, but it's pretty minor. Page 2 begins your general budget expenses. They are summarized, since this is the copy that's going to go to the newspaper. But you can see the major categories of expenses. A recurring theme throughout here is that you will see line items for personnel. That includes salaries, it includes fringe benefits, retirement, health insurance, all that kind of stuff, workers' comp. So that's all lumped into personnel, but you'll see it by department. So you'll see a section for the police department on page 2. Fire department, street department. And on page 3, we got cemetery, parks and rec, library. These are all relatively consistent with the previous year. We did make some budget cuts from last year, mostly in things like supplies, professional services, and there were a couple of instances where we discovered that we could save the city a bit of money as well. So we've been working hard on that and making sure that we are trimmed down as much as possible. And let's see what page we got on page 3. At the end of page 3, that's the final section of the general fund. We have a balanced budget, so revenues and expenses equal for the year. And we had a beginning cash balance, or we anticipate to have a beginning cash balance, since this is the following year, of $100,000 in the general fund. So we plan to keep that stable, just in case we have anything major pop up, which sometimes happens. Okay, beginning on page 4, we are outside of the general fund now. These are the separate funds for fire protection, and that's pretty consistent with prior years. $20,000 in the fire protection fund as of today, so we expect that to remain consistent, balanced budget. The next fund is the general obligation street improvement bonds. This is a debt service fund, so it's basically a clearing fund. We collect enough property taxes to pay the street improvement bonds, and that's pretty much it. We do run a little bit of cash in that account, but that's mostly because of the timing of when property taxes are collected versus when the debt service becomes due. And then the fund at the bottom of the page, that's the general obligation street improvement capital projects fund, which is, we don't budget any activity in this fund next year because we haven't discussed any potential for a capital project. But just so you do know, we have $185,000 sitting in that fund. It came from the bond issuance, so it's the debt proceeds that y'all can use for street improvements, as determined necessary. So just wanted to let y'all know that was there.
How would you, because I know there's, I don't want to say which size, but there's certain sizes, like you, if you go to the roads, where you get those transmissions, will we prioritize the roads, or how do we go about that as far as street funds?
So what we're gonna do, there's something called in lieu of tax, not in lieu of tax, there's a fund that comes from the state of Mississippi, it's sales tax. And it can only be used, I think it used to be called the internet sales tax. But we get 2 quarterly funds from allocations from the state of Mississippi. What I would like to do, and I'm gonna bring this person before this board, and he is going to present to you an opportunity. Not having those audits concurrent does not hurt us. That's been the big thing, not having audits concurrent. There's an opportunity like we did in West Point that would allow us to do some street improvements, and it will not cost the citizens of Okolona not one single penny because the funds are allocated via the state. And then if that get approved, if we're credit worthy for it, as they call it, through the bonding, then that's a way that we can do some street improvements and pave some of these streets that desperately need to go. So that's an opportunity for us there. Yes, ma'am.
Are you talking about government consultant? Now,
That's what I'm about to
I invited him to speak to us last board term. He told us to use tax and stuff.
Yeah.
He told us all that, but.
Well, I'm definitely gonna reach out to them if they haven't come, because they've already got his phone number and everything. Just want to get past this hurdle here. Yeah, okay.
Okay, next page, water sewer fund budget. This fund is pretty much consistent with the past. We expect to collect about the same in revenues. We are investigating things about the water meters, but we will address that, as soon as we find out more. Again, balanced budget and water sewer, and after the transfer, which we just approved, we expect to have a beginning cash balance in that fund for the next fiscal year of $100,000. So that's going to help keep that fund afloat for the next fiscal year. And we'll continue to evaluate this fund because it's been losing a little bit of money over time. So we're looking at ways to improve.
We discovered that there were some employees that were all of them were being pulled from that fund account, and they should not have been pulled from that fund account. So we got people placed where they're supposed to be. And then the transfer, it was all about accounting management of the fund account. Yes, sir.
But is this where, you said earlier, I know you're not looking at it right now, but you said like you, approximately 142? Okay.
Yes, I think,
And the 42,000 is going to, like I said, I'm just trying to make sure I say it right, because it was 142,000 and then the ending balance is going to be 100,000, correct?
right. Okay, so we had a substantial deficit in the water sewer fund before this transfer.
Gotcha.
Yes, so that transfer bumps it up to $100,000 so that we can, operate into the next fiscal year and not be out of compliance with state statutes at the get-go. So,
Unless we want to start at $172,000 deficit in this fiscal year. Yeah, definitely, we're like, nope, we're not us.
I guess my concern is just, obviously I don't want citizens to feel it. And not only that, there's a lot, it feels like 08 to me, you know what I mean? I was in high school during 08, so I can't really speak for people that had to go through that. But it does make me worried, because it feels like we're in a bubble and some of this stuff, and I just don't know how that pertains to us as a city government. I've seen what happens on a federal level, you know what I mean? So I just want to make sure we're protected in that case.
I think we're gonna be in really good shape, and there's some other things that you don't even know about yet, that you don't have to have some really deep conversation that, when I say a lot of money, could be in excess of over $1 million, almost $1.5 million. That's a lot of money.
I guess we're continuing to make improvements, as far as allocating employees to each fund respective to the work that they actually do in the fund. And that was one of the issues that we identified with water sewer, is we were, I won't say not we, but a lot of employees in the public works, they were being mistakenly tagged to water sewer fund, in spite of the fact that they were not doing substantially most of their work for water sewer. A lot of them were working for street, yet most of their payroll was being taken out of water, So, but we've got a good system to correct that moving forward, and continue to evaluate it and try to make the most sense of this. So last fund at the bottom, the airport fund, that's, just hangar rents, maybe a little bit of lawn maintenance and engineering fees. Again, balanced budget for that fund as well. Sanitation fund on the following page, consistent with prior years. Actually a little bit of, I can't remember which way personnel went in sanitation as a result of the reallocation, but
Because the percentages that's supposed to be broken out, three percentages supposed to be broken out versus records coming out of one fund account.
but we're trying to allocate everyone based on what their daily tasks are.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's supposed
Just to make it make sense. And that's pretty much it for the budget.
So on this same page, that's all the court bought in, is that right there? Or that's what you budgeted for?
That fund is a little bit of it's an odd fund, because a lot of the fines and such that are collected, some of that stays with the city, and some of those are state assessments.
I got
Like, domestic violence or, whatever. So we take those out entirely. So the 6,000 is only the portion that stays with the city. So even though you might collect $15,000 or $20,000 in that fine, since most of it is the state's money, we just go ahead and net those out.
That's something we're supposed to do on a monthly basis, and that's, we discovered that some of it was done, but those assessments have been taken care of. Because if you don't do it, you can penalize it. And I have had the conversation with our judge. I don't know how many of you all saw what the city of West Point just recently posted through its police department. If not, I encourage you to go to the city of West Point's police department page in their effort to collect those outstanding fines. There once was a time when we were allowed to publish it in our local newspaper. However, the legislature has changed that and said that you can no longer do that because those are public records, as far as paying to have it published. But thanks be to God that the caveat of the internet, Facebook, came into existence, and they allow for it to be placed on the internet. And that's what the city of West Point has done. And as of today, Paige has printed off all 70 plus, almost 80 pages of $1.1 million of uncollected fines, and we are about to we're going to aggressively go after those funds.
Is it kind of like what City of Tupelo now?
Sorry?
I think it's all City of Tupelo.
City of Tupelo may have done it too, but I know the city of West Point, go to the city of West Point police, I saw it pop up on there a few weeks ago. And our judge said that she is going to aggressively go after that, because by statute, we're supposed to make every effort to collect outstanding monies, and by us doing that, it shows that the board, that we have acted in good faith to state statute. And so.
So what date will you be posting it on?
It's up to the municipal judge. I know she has asked for Paige, and when you go back and look at the minutes, the minutes reflected things like this. There was supposed to be collections done, and nothing ever happened. And because dealing with all of these back audits and the auditors coming and you having to pull the minute books, show them this, show them that, show them this, they're asking all kind of questions. You got the state auditors coming up to City Hall, with the guns on the side, and they want you to verify this and verify that. We're doing that. And so when you're doing all that, you start seeing more and more. So I encourage our citizens out there to put a request in and come and read these minutes. You want a soap opera, you come read the minutes. This is done the days of our life. And it gives you a full understanding as to what's going on. Because you'll say, these are the days of our life as the world turns.
Did you see a huge turning point in West Point once y'all started doing that?
Oh, we saw a huge turning point here in Okolona when we used to publish it in the newspaper. Chief can attest to that. When it hit the newspaper, it's just like when the taxes come out.
Yeah.
They go in there, people are like, oh, So,
That makes sense.
we're hoping, and then, for those that they can help keep the town clean.
Yeah.
Because we'll have that Saturday work program. And throughout the week, I'm quite sure the judge is gonna look at that as well.
That'd be nice to have the Saturday work program for the fine now.
So is this the end?
Yes, we project at the end of this fiscal year, we'll have around $567,000 in the bank to use for the next fiscal year. And we don't budget to dip into any of that, on the front end.
So are there any questions for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026?
I don't have any questions, I just have a comment. Mayor Sherman and Mr. Davis, thank y'all for all that you're doing for discovering, getting our books straight. Getting our books straight. It's way long overdue, and I do believe the people will be happy that we are moving forward.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Before, I see it on here, number 5, it says approve the budget. But I would like, or just requesting, you all know the procedure, but I would like to have another meeting with these numbers, because see, we had one before, and they were different from these.
Right.
So now, those are just numbers up in the air, and that gets confusing.
You will get that once we plug these in. So plug these in, and you can come and get a budget comparison. Tonight, we have to adopt the budget. If not, the city shuts down October 1. This is our drop dead by state statute, because there are publication requirements that must occur. We have to run it in the paper, and if it does not run in the paper, they said on October 1, the city shut down.
That's why that we have this meeting on the drop dead thing. Like, I think that's unfair to us. I really think it's unfair that we wait until it's the drop dead date, and then we're at a point where we have to approve a budget, or it's on us that the city don't operate. That's not fair. I mean, that's just my opinion.
And also like some timelines on certain stuff too. So
Well, this is the format that's prescribed by state law that we publicize. And that's the reason why you see it this way. This is the formula that, the others were just working worksheets, but this is the formula that the state has prescribed for us to publish the budget. That's what we had in budget work sessions. We took into consideration the things that were said. We tried to make the amendments to those requests, and taking all of this data that's coming in, it's not an easy task to sit there and just draft up a budget. And if you do that, then you run into a situation like the previous administration, because that's what we're trying to make sure that we don't fall into that boat of adopting a deficit budget. And that's exactly the reason why it has taken, and this is nothing different, because if we go back and take a look in a minute, Okolona has historically adopted its budget on the last day.
I don't think we have to continue to do like.
No, and we're not.
We have 1, 2, how many of us? 5.
Six of
So,
y'all.
yeah, but you got 4 people on the board that are brand new to you. So, it's kind of like our hands are tied now, because if we don't vote to say yes to approve the budget, then you tell us, okay, October 1st, we can't operate.
That's
How fair is that?
That's
I'm
not,
just
that's
saying,
state
like,
law.
that's-
I mean, it's state law.
we could have, I feel like, or we should have done this before the final day.
And I think that moving forward, because you will have learned more in the process, and we're ironing out some things, it would not be the day of. It's a lot of new, like you said, there's a lot of new in there. We got a new city clerk, there's a lot for her, there's things for her to learn. It's a whole process of new stuff, and that's the reason why it pushed us out to where we are. If we had seasoned individuals sitting around this table, it could have, I feel very confident, it could have happened in the first month of August. But when you don't, you gotta learn to work with what you have, and you have to work to help people to progress and to learn this. No, you're not gonna learn, even in all the years that I've been there, you're not gonna learn everything in 4 years. But you're gonna have a better understanding than what you have today. And that's why and that's the reason why we have to lean on experts like David, who are certified public accountants. That's the reason why we lean on people like David to help us. And even Miss Jean White. And that's the reason why the board, through your actions, have helped us to get to where we are, because if not, to be honest with you, we wouldn't have even had a budget tonight. Because if you don't move by state statute required to generate a budget.
I understand what you're
And
saying.
so, but-
I get that, I understand that.
Right.
My point is that here we are.
Yeah.
We have to approve this. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You get what I'm saying? And I don't think that that's fair. Because had we done this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, then we could have said, okay, well, we don't understand this. Let's have a special call, or let's do something, let's have a workshop, let's do something. Because I'm like him, he probably have questions. But what can we do now? Everything is together, so we can't go into a full discussion on it. We gotta just say, okay, we approve what we know. And
I'm a billion % behind it, because my position is, okay, we had, simply nothing against y'all, we had a city of Okolona proposed budget right there. And it had all kind of numbers and so on and so forth. I would like, and I know it's not an ideal world, not a perfect world, I would like to have that one and this one on the side, and that way I can say, hey, blah, blah, blah. But right here at 7:40 or whatever time it is, my back is against the wall in terms of, as far as I know, there's nothing against Jarvis and Mark, but when she said we're new, as far as I know, when y'all said the last board adopted a negative budget, who's to say they didn't feel the same pressure? Oh, we got to go ahead and approve something. I don't know if they did. I didn't know if they didn't. I'm just not comfortable voting right now with the pressure on me in terms of, in a few weeks, everything shut down. I have to be able to look at something.
To piggyback off what he's saying, he's correct. That's how I felt last year. That's why people in the street holler about, you approved the deficit. Yes, like right now, we didn't have no other choice but to approve or close the city hall. So if you want to tell that bottom line is, just like you said, your back is against the wall. Either you approve this or you shut down. So that's why we got handcuffs. So let me help you with this. Let me ask this question since we in this. If I see something in this budget that I'm not agreeing with, how do we come back in the business to this? It's the question I'm asking.
I'm going to go back and, a
budget
budget is a working guide.
Okay,
That's all you're adopting. People, you are adopting a working guide.
And you said people, like,
I'm just telling you, I'm letting you know, you are adopting, as David stated, a working guide.
well, let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. Okay. On this budget, I understand we got how many different clerks? 7, 8.
You got them from the electric department all the way.
That's what I'm saying. So, like,
Now,
right
they're
now,
not gonna be on there. The electric department is on this separate. They don't.
I'm just saying how many clerks we got for, like, city, like, this is my saying, different personnel. Personally, when I look at this number, I'm like, this is too much for this small city. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, what if I just come and say, I think we need to just say lower something or take our amount down? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would that be feasible for us to do?
Because you can do it, but the question will be, will it be legal for you to
see,
do?
there you go.
That meaning it can't be
That's where I'm
justified.
That's
Because you can't do things arbitrary or capricious, period.
No, that's why.
Now, you have a right to amend the budget, but from that, you can't be arbitrary or capricious. That's state law. That's in the Constitution.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
that's in the Constitution. So, that's the bottom line. I mean, that's the world that we live in and that we're operating in government. And we're at the point now that, hey, we're a new board. We know this. That's why we brought experts in here. And we're at the point, hey, either we can adopt it or not. And, I hate that it puts us in this quandary, but this is where we are. But we move forward. We know that we don't have to wait till, because everybody will be knowing that you have with an election year, there's a calendar that comes out. And it tells the city clerk, you're supposed to start doing this on this day. Anybody can go download that from the Stennis Institute. There's a book, just like you got a municipal Bible, there's a clerk's Bible. And in there, it gives you a whole calendar of when this stuff's supposed to start.
And
This game.
And not to cut you off, just to be clear.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of cities just did that tonight, the same thing we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's because of the newness, y'all. This ain't nobody trying to pull nothing over your head or nothing like that. I'm trying to make sure, cause look, I don't need Shad White in my face, and I definitely don't want him in yours. All I had to do was turn my back and walk away, and Shad's coming. And he's gonna be in a lot of folks' face. But what we've learned, Ms. Gates.
Okay.
Wow.
For the new city council, for what it's worth, I'm apologizing for my actions. We were supposed to have started the budget in April. We got elected, started our term July 1st. So kudos to us, because we did it in a short period of time. There are blueprints out there for the city, for the elected officials. The past boards did not go by those blueprints, and I'm putting myself in it. So had we had the footwork in the beginning, I believe it would have been better coming in. So I'm apologizing for not adding as a former council. Okay, but we have got to approve it.
I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
and it's just not, to be clear, I don't think you're trying to pull anything over my head. I don't know what nobody else feel like. I don't speak for me. What I want to do is, when I approve anything, I want to understand what I'm doing. That's it. That's bottom line. I don't really care how nobody else feel about that, but I want to be able to go home and go to sleep at night.
And I understand that.
That's what I wanted to.
And Ben, I understand that wholeheartedly. And that's the reason why we're taking the necessary step. We've been approved with the DTCTA. We got experts when it comes down, and that's part of it, and they're gonna probably have it so that next time, the whole board, we can do the budget as a board. Because they're going to get ready, because that was one of the weaknesses that we identified, they identified, and they said they're gonna correct. Am I not correct, Carissa? On that DTCA training for the board?
I know it was one for, I don't want to look at the information, but they did discuss something. They discussed other things. Just because we see.
So we're making them prove so that, because this board, I want us to be transparent with each other and with the general public, so that they have an understanding of what it is, because a lot of folks going off with what they hear out the street, that's not the place to get it. Come get it from the source. Mr. Moore.
I just want to say thank you first off, because $142,000 is a lot of money, right? It kind of makes you scratch your head. But I think I have to agree with everyone, because it's like one of those things, like I remember what he's talking about where it had like direct pay broken down to an exact point. And we just want to be able to see that, because all I'm seeing for male council personnel, 2,000, or whatever the number is right here, and I don't know who's getting it broken down.
And then basically what you're getting is the same that you get on your monthly revenues and expenditure report.
Okay.
What you're looking at is what you see every month and what you approve every month on your revenues and expenditure report. It's just in a different, they just going straight down versus what you tend to see all other ways. Once the board approves it, we will put these numbers in BDI and it will give you a comparison report. I can get it to generate you a 3-year comparison report. So you can see the last 3, this and the last 2 years. So then you can regulate that every month with your pencil and pen. Taking your revenues and expenditure report, it'll give you a better understanding once you do that of how municipal finances are done.
Because it is 4 of us.
Yeah, I understand that.
And not only that, like we want to take care of everybody. Like we want to go to citizens. And like, let's just be honest, that's a lot of money just be putting out, and then there's possible loans and stuff like that.
Well, you see, you have a balanced budget, and that is to meet all of the expenditures that are forecasted with a surplus of $500 and some thousand at the end of the fiscal year. I think that's commendable from where you were at.
Yes.
I agree on that.
So, I mean, that's a non-debatable, and I think if you were to ask any other municipality out there, they will say, what y'all talking about? That's what they will come to you and say, what are y'all talking about?
I would say, well, we changed the position from hourly to salary. Like, I don't think that was the right thing to do. I didn't vote on it because I wasn't in here, but I'm just being honest. We had someone here working as an hourly employee, they leave, we come back, and we put them in there as a salary, just salary. Like, that don't make sense to me, but hey, I'm just one person.
Question, it goes like this, in the interest of time, let's just all address the elephant in the room. There's a uproar concerning your salary, whether, it is what it is. That's not me saying it, that's what it is. People choosing sides between this, that, or whatever. In turn, my opinion, in terms of winners and losers, when I say you win, because at whatever time, whether you chose to win or look to win, this is a fact. So at whatever time that the salary was put out there, you knew, and whoever else knew, hey, this deadline is coming, this deadline is coming, this deadline is coming. And if we miss this deadline, I got it. Not saying it was intentional, not saying that was a goal, but that's where we are. That's where we are.
You still hold the right to amend this budget. We are projected, it was presented to you at last month to adjust the salary. We've had different conversations. The board had agreed to, at our work session. I presented it to you all at the last regular board meeting. There was not a motion to approve. Therefore, we were compelled to move forward with what, because when the board does not act on it, then it remains. You still have the right to come back. And then, that's just the way it is. And we're taking what you all have given us, and that's what we're presenting to you in order for us to move forward. For us to move forward, and it's a balanced budget, zero deficit with $500,000 retained earnings at the end of the fiscal year. That's what's being presented to you tonight. And that's what I call for the question for the adoption of this budget.
Question, if the city, just trying to get a hold of it, if, God forbid, the city has to shut down because it's not adopted, how long, how does that go, how does that work?
I have no idea. The state would be coming in. The state would be coming in. That's the nature of the beast. Yeah, the state will come in. You can't even turn the lights on October 1. No city employee would have a job October 1.
Make a motion to approve the budget.
Is there a second? Is there probably motion and second? All the,
One question, Mayor. So we can go back through and look over this again and make adjustments?
yeah,
Yes,
you can amend the budget, James.
By paperwork, by
I
documentation.
just know, they threw a lot of stuff in Jackson, so we're just trying.
You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn.
Cause I will say this, there's stuff that over the weeks.
So, are there any other questions?
Well, I just want to say first off, thank you for finding this stuff. Thank you, Mr. David, as well. We just want to make sure, everyone's taken care of, because it's people that put us in this position.
But trust somebody who has been here. This is my 4th rodeo. And this is your first rodeo, but this is my 4th rodeo. And I assure you, I've never had the state auditors come put handcuffs on me. Okay? And I'm looking out for what's in your best interest. And if I'm looking out for what's in your best interest, that means you're looking out for I'm also looking out for what's the best interest of those who put you in office. You were elected by your ward. I was elected citywide. And apparently, it's something that I'm doing right that citywide re-elected me for the 4th term. So with that, is there since I have a motion and a second, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposers? Abstainers? Ayes have it. We're at number 6 now, discuss and approve emergency hires for the Public Works Department. We have 2 employees. Actually, we have 3 more come forward. Only one do I have 2. Yeah, just what I'm saying, the reason for it is that we have 3 employees who are down in the Public Works Department due to health. One of our employees, without giving the name, has recently been diagnosed with cancer. And he had surgery today. I mean, it was a shock to all of us. We have one employee who allegedly got hurt on the job, and they are off for several months. And then we got another employee who got hurt at the house, and they are off now for several months. And when I say several, up to 3 months, and the department was already shorthand anyway. And so these are, we went and took all of those applications that we currently had in file, and based on those applications that we had in file, went down to court, had to come back because they lost this application. But if you look at it, you'll see that there are 2 dates on there. You'll have today's date because when you said, but if you look at it, he came up here and didn't have, they lost it. So he had to come back up here and fill out a new. That's why you see 2 dates on there when it asks the question, have you ever applied? And so we have Mr. Jacor Stanfield and Bashan Epps that we'd like to hire in the Public Works Department. And they will start out at, what will they start out at? $13 per hour.
Full time,
Part-time.
Yes.
Part-time.
part time?
Local system.
You sure with them being out this long, you don't want full time?
Well, I think that's the way they've been doing it all along. They work for part-time for about 3 months, and they decide to stay, then they do it full-time.
Gotcha.
Does the pay change?
It's like
Does the
for
rate
them.
change?
She said, does the pay
Does the rate
change?
change when they go full time? It does so.
I think it goes 14, though.
Yeah, I think so. Where's it said it goes to 14? Are there any questions from members of the board?
On the references, number 2, Mamie Stanfield, is she related to Mr. Jacor?
Cause he had one application, I remember seeing it a while ago. He lost it though, right?
Yeah, he lost it. I mean, he didn't lose it, we got lost here between Public Works and the election department. I know it was at City Hall and then somebody else in the book. I don't know, Mr. Thomas, whether or not they're related or not.
Well, if possible, when I say it's not a big deal, I'm just, if possible, can he get another reference, just to be, make sure that we all clear in terms of, I'm just not used to family members being able to be a reference.
Something.
I'm gonna go make approval with it because they lost his application. That's on them. Nobody else using his application.
But there's, and it does, our policy does not state that. We're bound by the policy that's been adopted by, regardless of what board it was, that's the city policies until it's changed. And the application does not state on there, reference non-family member. I can't hold a person to a standard that they are unaware of. Are there any other questions? Being none, is there a motion for the approval?
Mr. Nyman, I'd like to make a motion to approve to hire Corey Stanfield and Bashan Esther, for the public work, start pay $13, part-time, pending drug test.
Second.
It's been properly motion and second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Abstainers? Ayes have it.
Now, their applications both check food funds, but they do know that they're getting hired part-time, right?
Assistant, say it's part-time, for 3 months or something like that. Then they decide to stay. And so
So
forth.
kind of like, the
Part-time, they don't benefits.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion for the adjournment?
Make a motion for the adjournment.
Second.
It's been properly motion and second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, we stand adjourned. And the city gets to stay open.
Amen.
Yeah.